Guys, Jason the Lazy Heretic here with another Advent devotional, and this evening, today, whichever time you're watching this video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about what it means, what this maybe a positive definition of peace is in our biblical understanding of what that might be, because we've looked at what a negative definition is. Often we think of peace as not war, as the absence of conflict or something like that, but we see in the Bible that the actual kind of the opposite of peace is not war, but it's actually chaos, and so we've seen that the opposite of peace is disunity, disharmony, kind of this lack of structure, lack of form, lack of purpose, in a sense, that God brings out of this chaos that exists before creation. And we saw at the end of time, when Jesus comes back and heaven comes to earth and there's that new creation, that in that time there's going to be no chaos. There's going to be total peace. And so and I asked you guys to think on and imagine what that might look like for us to exist in that world, because I think that's a hard thing to imagine, to go and sit there and go, okay, let's read Revelation 21. You know, there'll be no more mourning, no more death, no more tears, no more pain, no more crying, no more suffering. All these things will be passed away. There's no more sea. The sea is no more. And we talked about how the sea was a symbol of chaos and disorder, and God has brought that to an end, and He's brought order and peace and harmony and structure and unity with God and unity with each other in our relationships. What does that look like? The fact that there's no death, there's no passing of time in that sense. Like, what does it mean to exist in a timeless eternity? Like, I can't think what that would look like because I'm so time bound. I think that's something that we really struggle with as time bound creatures, to understand what does it mean to live in a timeless existence outside of time, existing forever. And would there be any change in that? Is change something that is part of the fall, or are we going to continue to change in this new creation? I'm not sure. But if we look at so that's kind of like a negative definition of what peace is. But if we kind of consider a positive definition, we look at this Hebrew word shalom, and shalom is a Hebrew word that means flourishing. It means wholeness, and it means seeking the good of the other, or each other in that sense. So in the Old Testament, there were shalom covenants between groups of people, and they would talk and they would make these covenants, and they would decide, hey, we're not actually going to fight with each other. We're going to be at peace. We're going to be at shalom with each other. But part of this this shalom agreement was that they would also seek the good and the flourishing of the other nation. So if the other nation was attacked by someone else, they would come to the defense of that nation, and they would offer help and assistance wherever they could. And so for us to live in shalom with others means that we not only seek to live in wholeness and joy and peace with them, but we also seek to empower them to flourish and empower them to live a life that is full of joy and full of all these wonderful things that the gospel and the kingdom promise us. And so let's think on that for this devotional. What does it mean for us where we're at? Because we all live in different situations all over the world. What does it mean for us to, where we are, encourage the flourishing of others, those around us who might be different than us, might have needs, might have things that they are struggling with? How can we promote their flourishing? How can we point them to the gospel, to the God, and to the kingdom, and encourage them to live the life that Jesus has called each one of us to? So think on that, and we'll post another video real soon. All right? God bless, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.